Can you hear me? I think there is something wrong. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, good, good. Good, because I am in the kitchen and Unifa is in the hall. All right. Okay, let me go back to. I hope all students are here because just now when I leave this Google Meet, when I share the PowerPoint, I noticed some students cannot enter. Because it's like my Google Meet is freezing. So, but then when I came to the Google Meet again, and then the system automatically accept them all. So I don't know if those who are late, I'm sorry if you tell them if they cannot enter, tell them because they are late and the system like freeze them all and like I need to admit them. Otherwise, if I'm in the Google Meet, whoever wants to enter, the system will automatically admit the person because I have what you call that? I have Google extension, auto admit all my students. All right, let's carry on with this syncretism. So I start at the Unitarian group. This Unitarian group, the support for syncretism in approaches in religion, they were among the supporter of World Parliament of Religions. That's why if you have the opportunity, I don't know, I mean, I have also once the opportunity to join World Parliament of Religions that was in 2007 or 2008, but unfortunately I did not make it because I was in New Zealand that time and the program held in Australia. And the reason why I didn't follow because the currency exchange was so expensive that time. I couldn't afford to join. I can pay for the fees, but I couldn't afford the what you call it the residential staying at the hotel in Australia because one 3 ringgit, I think 3 ringgit 40 cent is equal to 1 ringgit. So if I were to stay there, it took like about a week that conference. So if I were to join for a week, then I'll go broke lah. Because coincidentally I was in New Zealand doing my sabbatical. So again the currency exchange was very high, so I didn't go because of lack of funds. So that's quite unfortunate, but um, I just want to witness. Yeah, I just want to witness. But from what I knew, many syncretic groups, uh, they were supporters of this Parliament of Religions because their religions were recognized. Their religions were recognized. All right, so let's take a look at this call for unity of religions. Philosophically, I finished this one. So the meaning of syncretism is combining, reconciling religions to the extent that another new religion is brought in line with the two existing religions or in line with the existing religions. Yeah. Okay, done this one. So there was a philosopher who called for unity of religions, and this is at the level of a science of religion. Yeah. So you see, what I'm trying to say here, in terms of the movements, there have been movements that call for syncretic approach, right? Religious movements that call for syncretic approach, even during the 19th century. But philosophically speaking, or in terms of the discipline, they have been also a scholar who called for these sorts of syncretic approach. Heiler, for example, Frederick Heiler in 1958 is one of the how do I say, it's not pioneer, scientist in comparative religion. And in his work titled The History of Religion, he called for the unity of religions. I remember when I did my PhD, so my professor once said that there was a movement within comparative religion that perceive or that embrace the idea that religion is a form of evolution. Yeah. Religion is a form of evolution. It evolves from um, polytheism to henotheism and monotheism. religion just like any other being that has biological structure. So religion evolved from a very primitive form, which is polytheism, to a more advanced form, which is henotheism, and finally monotheism. And some of the scholars of comparative religion or scientists of religion were under influence of this evolution of religion. Yeah? When I speak about evolution of religion, I hope you can relate to whom I am referring this idea of evolution. Charles Darwin. For your information, that Charles Darwin has a great influence not only in biological sciences. Remember, he was talking about natural selection, about man from eggs and then evolve into Homo sapiens and become like we as today, right? But his evolution theory also penetrate into social sciences as well as a study of religions, because study of religions is one of the what you call that sciences under social sciences or humanities. Now they call it humanities. So scholars of comparative religions also some of them seem to appreciate the idea of evolution of religion and perceive that religion starting off in the belief of polytheism. Man in its primitive understanding of religion believe that man from the very beginning believe in many religions. Believe in many religions, and then after man become a little bit how do I say smart or rational, so he chose the one preference God. So he had certain preference to a certain God. So he fall into henotheism. So the scholars who believe in henotheism refer to Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam case, because if you remember the story of Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, um, there was one occasion whereby Prophet Ibrahim chopped off all the heads of the idols except for one big idol, right? Because this demonstrate the kind of belief structure the people during his time follow. They believe in many gods, but they have one preference God. Yeah? So this is henotheism. According to scholars of comparative religion, this is one form of henotheism, and which means that mark another step in terms of human belief, or advancement or evolution in terms of human belief. And finally, when Christianity emerged, eh, Christianity emerged, it marked the ultimate form of monotheism. Monotheism, and of course, in their belief, after Christianity, Islam, so Christianity is the ultimate form, is a new form of monotheism, because the former form would be Judaism. Yeah. So Judaism, Christianity, and Islam forms the ultimate what you call that, the ultimate evolution of religion, which is monotheism. And this is what higher perhaps some interpretations say that higher is moving towards, that finally all these religions, so the history of religions, all these religions starts like this, and they will evolve into one absolute religion or unity religion. So therefore, Haile called in his approaches to religion, he called for people to have intelligent understanding, to recognize the universal element of religion, yeah, and to believe that all religions should be cooperate with each other, yeah, and to advocate morality or moral teachings in religion, because at the end of the day, all these religions are going into uh, the same direction together. All right. So one thing is also important with regard to the characteristics of syncretism is that it takes context, the context, human context. Yeah, it takes human context as very important, as very relevant to the identity of religion. And the word I use in the slides here is sacralized relativism. Uh, Why? Because all these different contexts, they have separate meanings. Uh, people who are living in India, people who are living in Arabia, people who are living in Europe, for example, they have their own cultural context. And syncretism take this cultural context as sacred. So the sacred is made relative. You follow now? The sacred is made relative, and because of this different cultural context that has sacred values, uh, men follow certain order of belief. Yeah. So among the most famous, prominent movements in syncretism are this movement that you can see on the slides. Yeah. So the Brahmo Samaj, the Ramakrishna Mission, Theosophical Society, and some scholars say Mahatma Gandhi also is one of the founder of the syncretic approach, even though he did not formulate a solid syncretic religion. So Mahatma Gandhi did not formulate a new religion, but the way he approached religion is very syncretic in nature, in the sense that he just accepts all different religions as the same. Yeah. Uh, so what about this Brahmo Samaj? Yeah? So let's take a look at how Brahmo Samaj develop and advocate. One of the pioneer is Ram Mohan Roy. If you are familiar with the Indian history, his name is not foreign because he's one of the Hindu reformer, the Indian reformers. Yeah, and he called for religious truth that is applicable to all religion. He combated the idea that a religion claim that religious truth is owned by particular religion. Yeah? So he said this is not true because all religions, or every religion is relatively or partially true. So it seems that he's not very certain of the absolute true because he takes all religions as relatively true or partially true. He has many followers because he's a reformist. He defines religion in a way that is suitable to his context, and I think that makes people attracted to him, especially in India. You know how some of the structure in the religion that makes Hinduism not so much uh, what you call that appealing, especially to the young people who were exposed to modern philosophy, especially the doctrine
His
of
system.
caste system. Yeah, caste system is not attractive to people who are exposed to modernism, modernity, living under modernity, and appreciate modernity. All right. If you are familiar with Kabir, yeah, Kabir is one of the great poets in India. He also called for, he didn't establish a new religion, but he appreciates all religions. And he's originally a Muslim. Yeah? He's originally a Muslim. And then, of course, the followers of Guru Nanak. But then Guru Nanak established Sikhism, which is, in my opinion, an explicit form of syncretism. But you don't say this to the Sikh, they'll be very sensitive, even though some of them acknowledge that they are a syncretic religion. Like Sikhism is a syncretic religion because it's a combination of Islam and Sikhism, and of course it has its own form in addition to the combination of the two religions. I'm quite disturbed here because my ears are listening to what's there in the television. All right. So let's take a look at what Ram Mohan Roy called for. So he called for unity of God, and interestingly, even though his base was Hinduism, but he rejects polytheism and paganism in Hinduism. So my assumption is that he appreciates the monotheistic approach. I would say, well, not monotheistic. He appreciates monist approach in Hinduism. Monism. I hope you remember the differences between monotheism and monism. Yeah, because monotheism talks about or call for the idea of unity, um, or single God. Yeah, but then monism call for the idea of unity in God or union with God. So this is the differences between monotheism and monism. So I believe that he appreciates the idea of monism in Hinduism, yeah, better than polytheism. If you can recall what you have learned in study of religion too, or world religions too, what you have learned about Hinduism, I hope you can still remember that Hinduism has two conceptions of God which pertain to the idea of union, God, or so-called monism, and the idea of polytheistic God. So you have the idea of union God in the doctrine of the Atman, the higher soul. Yeah? The doctrine of the Atman, the highest soul, whereby they believe that man can be in unity or united with God, uh, uh, the higher soul. So human soul and God's soul become one, and this is the peak, and this is the ultimate in human life. And then the idea of polytheism, that there are many gods, yeah, there are many gods and there are supreme gods. Yeah? The Western scholars who study Hinduism believe that the supreme gods are, Brahma, Vishnu, and uh, Shiva. Yeah? And there are many other gods in addition to these three supreme gods. So this is the holistic aspect of Hinduism. So it seems that Ram Mohan Roy did not appreciate this polytheistic aspect. So, um, but then if Kabir called for, Kabir approaches, he called for uh, religious diversity, appreciating religions. Yeah? But then Ram Mohan Roy have certain preference for particular religion. Just make him uh, quite different from Nana or from Kabir because he has certain preference for Christianity. Well, whether you notice it or not that India have been accepting uh, influence from Europe, since 16th century. 16th century when the first European delegation invaded India in Goa. The Portuguese, if you still remember history. So they have been receiving uh, what we call that European influence since the 16th century, and the religion, I'm going straight away to the religion. They have been exposed to Christianity since the 16th century when the Catholic came to India and started to do missionary in India. Yeah. So when later on the British also invaded India in the 19th century, Christianity is not foreign to the to the Hindus or to the Indians. Yeah. So and you can also relate this Western or European colonials coming to this part of the world. They came together with their religion, which was Christianity. Yeah. So the local people were exposed with Christianity, and of course, uh, you know how missionaries were and are now, even until today. Kan? Missionaries came with many charity works. Yeah, they came and teach people to read. They came and open up hospitals, open up school. Yeah, the missionaries were very kind to people. This is a fact. So missionaries were very kind to people. So I believe this what makes some of the Hindus attracted to Christianity to the extent that many of them reverted, or not reverted, converted to Christianity and left Hinduism, especially because the doctrine of the doctrine of caste system is not attractive to the people who were exposed to the idea of modernity, to Christianity. Why? Because in modernity, all men is treated equally. No hierarchy in the society. Yeah. No conceptions of royal or not royal. You are just like anybody else. It's an aggie. It promotes the idea of egalitarian. All men are equal. Yeah. Because um, all men have reasoning, and that makes men at equal footing. And with regard to Christianity, when the colonial came to other parts of the world, they brought the idea that Christianity is the religion of the European, the religion of the Western people. They were very advanced in terms of technology. They were strong because they can colonize other lands, and they were strong. What we call that in terms of their army. Yeah? So this idea of superiority was there. If you're Christianity, then you are superior. And we learned this also, right? In the beginning of our lecture that Christianity projects itself as a superior religion. Yeah? And it's not difficult to become Christians. I mean, it's very simple to become Christian. You need not to let go whatever that you have followed. You just believe that Jesus Christ died on the cross and he will save you all. That's all. Unlike in Islam, very unattractive, a lot of do's and don'ts. I mean, if you try to compare between Christianity and Islam, it's very simple religion. Just acknowledge and you are promised with salvation. That's how it become very attractive to the public. And of course, because of the Christian missionaries, they were very nice. They were helping people to read, they were helping people who are sick. And when the Christian came, they make all people out as equals. Yeah. So this makes Christianity an attractive religion. So Ram Mohan Roy was also exposed with Muslims. Muslims have came to India long before Christianity. Don't forget that. Yeah? So even though there was also arguments that Christianity came um, to Indo-Pakistan area, uh, when was that? Um, in the 11th century, 11th to 12th century, yeah. Um, but then it did not last long, or it did not give an impact, so much impact in comparison to its emergence in the 16th century and especially during the 19th century. Yeah, because when Christianity came in the 19th century, they came with technology, sort of. They came with uh, scientific revolution, the kind of thing that they brought together with them, so it becomes more attractive in the 19th century. But then remember that Islam has been there also even before Christianity came. That was in the um, 7th, 8th century, yeah, 9th century, and during the peak time of Islam from 7, uh, 8, 9, 10, and 11, there was crusades. But still, until 14th century, until 14th century. But then they the Hindus were also exposed with Islam, and of course there were good things also about Islam. Yeah, and I think that's the reason why Ram Mohan Roy can see the beauty in Islam and Christianity. So he learned. It is interesting to know that as a Hindu, he learned uh, the the traditions of Islam. He learns the language of the Muslims, he learned the Quran, yeah? And he learned Christianity. Yeah? And he was called the father of modern India. You know, what I can extract from this experience of a person is that if you want to be versatile in terms of your knowledge of things, you need to get different inputs, get different inputs from different sources, so your horizons will be enhanced. I think this is what happened to him that made him able to reform the way the Indians or the Indians, many lah, the Christian, whatever religion they are, and the Hindus particularly to redefine their religion. So you see the way how Ram Mohan Roy advocate his belief in syncretism. He rejected all the myth, all the Hindu myth. You know what I mean when I say myth? Huh? Myth, you know, all the stories about the Brahma, all the stories about Shiva, Vishnu. Hold on, my the sorry class. My there's my students, my daughter's teachers. All right, so he learned Upanishad intensively. Okay, why he learned Upanishad? Upanishad is a Hindu scripture that is very philosophical in approach. Yeah? It was claimed that Upanishad is one of the most difficult sacred book of Hinduism uh, in terms of understanding, because this is also another interesting uh, note claim about Upanishad. Upanishad talks about monism. Upanishad advocate the idea of monism in Hinduism, and therefore it's very difficult to understand. But then Ram Mohan Roy learned Hinduism. Sorry, Upanishad. That television is very disturbing. Okay, and then he learned Sanskrit and English. He learned Sanskrit and English, and therefore he is able to, merge between the two. And then he wrote in Persian. So you see, he has also Persian language. He knows Arabic, he knows English, he knows Sanskrit, he knows Persian. And then he wrote a book, Tuhfa al-Muwahhidin, yeah? Tuhfa al-Muwahhidin. And then he claimed in this work, I hope I can find this word in English, yeah? Translated in English, he said that all religions without exceptions are vulnerable to mistakes. So this is what we have established earlier, that he's taking a relative, uh, you know, he said all religions are relative. Yeah? And he said he called for human reasoning to understand religions and their relationship. Yeah? And he asked people to believe or to study religion, to examine religion using rational standard and not internal standard. What is internal standard? You know, this asceticism or Gnosticism or esotericism, yeah, using spiritual approach. So he didn't believe in with spiritual approach. Because why? Because remember, in Hinduism, there is a stage whereby a Hindus is asked to get themselves involved in this esoteric situation. This is called the last stage of life, that one uh, uh, propagate himself or advocate to what you call that, devote himself in service of God. So become a sannyasi, become a wandering ascetic, leave the family and everything. This is uh, one of the best stage in life that a person supposed to do lah, but of course not everybody is doing it. But it's one of the best stage in life when someone can commit himself to in devotion to God. It's called bhakti. Yeah, bhakti. In fact, there is a movement in India. It's called bhakti movement when people uh, advocate himself to devotion. If you want to make an analogy, just like a mystical approach in Hinduism, it's called ascetic, yeah, ascetic movement. All right, but Ram Mohan Roy did not uh, prefer this. He didn't accept this. Yeah, he just want men to take religion at the level of reasoning. Yeah, this is one of the uh, very evident characteristics of modernity. Yeah? And then he didn't accept the idea that you examine other religion based on your standard. Yeah? Based on your standard, you have to use rational standard to evaluate religion. And I say your own standard means your religious standard. Like for example, you're Muslims, and then you are examining Hinduism using, the Muslims yardsticks or the Islamic yardstick. This is not. This is not to his agreement. But then he called for a common element. This is quite tricky because he didn't like using other religions yardstick, but then he appreciates that we take the common elements in all religions. Yeah, so he takes the three religions that he appreciates better in terms of the commonalities are Hinduism, Christianity, and Islam. Okay, this is also another interesting thing about syncretism and his approach, especially he uh, he rejects rituals. Yeah, he rejects rituals. So basically, in his way of advocating Hinduism, Hinduism has no specific ritual. It's enough with contemplation. It's enough with thinking about God and about His creation, about His majestic power. That's all. So there is no such thing as rituals, and maybe you can relate this to Hinduism because Hinduism is one of the religion has a lot of rituals, right? A lot of festivals. When actually, except that in Malaysia, the Hindus celebrate Deepavali, the celebration of the fire kan actually the lights, not fire, that the lights, yeah. But actually there are many celebrations in Hinduism, and many festivals. I noticed that lately Malaysia also quite uh, what do you call that? Some of the festivals which were not celebrated before in Malaysia have been celebrated. Yeah? Because well, the Hindus celebrated it. Pongal, for example. Yeah, Pongal, for example. Thaipusam has been long established ritual for the Hindus in Malaysia, right? But Pongal was not. Maybe it was celebrated, but not uh, commercialized that much in Malaysia. But you see that it becomes very much commercialized today. If you go to the mall, you find that they have also decoration during the Pongal. All right, it's okay. But I think what I'm trying to highlight here is to Ram Mohan Roy, these are not important at all. Yeah. Okay, so he called himself his movement as Brahmo Samaj. Brahmo means God, yeah. In Upanishad, so you see he's very much influenced by the Upanishad, and Samaj means society. So Brahmo Samaj is theistic society. All right. So a society that acknowledges belief in God beyond the constraint of skin color, caste, nationality, and religion for the purpose of strengthening relationship among religions. So this is a very alarming, a very distinctive characteristics of this society that call for unity of religions. Um, so I guess I'm going to skip the rest about Ram Mohan Roy, except for this one. He claimed to be a monotheistic religion worshipping the one God with no specific and definite rites or specific rituals. So this conception is of God, what I've mentioned earlier in this discussion, is quite blurry. But then it's regarded as God, a universal God. The word here is universal theism, yeah? And this is advocated in Upanishad. So you can see how much Upanishad is very influential Ram Mohan Roy. Uh, so basically, his movement regarded as a religion is a fabricated religion. Yeah? Fabricated means a man-made religion. So Brahmo Samaj is a man-made religion, no doubt. Yeah? Um, well, there is some critics here. No religion would be likely to accept it. There is some pitfalls or shortcomings with regard to syncretic approach in religion because it's a full-fledged humanistic approach to religion. It's a full-fledged man-made religion, which is very distinctive character of syncretism in the lecture. Syncretism and my father. Uh, it's a very clear human-made religion, and there is no single items that you can relate with Revelation. If I would say that it's everything about human interpretation and human contribution in the shaping of a religion. Yeah? So finally, all religions resolve into one single universal religion, and this type of unification is against the very idea of religious pluralism itself, who celebrated the idea of pluralism. So there's an element of criticism there. Why? Because now, if all religions become one, at the end of the day, what is the plurality? Because pluralism or religious pluralism advocate for manyness, right? But if all religions finally become one, what happened? There is no many religion. We end up with one single religion. So this is one critic to syncretic approach. Okay, and we have many others lah. So like for example, this particular follower, Keshap Chandra Sen, is a follower of Ram Mohan Roy, but he has very great appreciation for Christianity. Has great appreciation for Christianity. It's very famous tagline, Christianizing Hinduism and Hinduizing Christianity. Yeah, very interesting. And he used Buddhist, Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Chinese sacred texts alternatively, but denied that he's a Christian, even though he has certain preference for Christianity. He denied that he's a Christian. He actually follow another scholar, Hindu scholars or Hindu reformers, yeah. His name is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa after this, yeah. However, he branched out from this movement and he established new dispensation, a new religion. Yeah? He called this new religion new dispensation, and he claimed that this religion is a revealed religion. That was in 1883, and this religion sought to unite mankind. Yeah? So you can see what he said here. I will not read. You can read on your own later on. So this is Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He's a mystic. Interestingly, if Ram Mohan Roy, what you call that, modern reformist, and then Keshap Chandra Sen, um, is he has established new religion, a combination of mix and match of many religions. But Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was an ascetic, so-called Sufis, Hindu Sufis, and he led this movement. It's quite interesting. I mean, how ascetic movement can lead people. Yeah? If you read, if you, how do you say, examine the responses towards and against modernity, you will find that asceticism is just another form of response against modernity or modernism. Yeah? Because modernity or modernism lack of spirituality and does not appreciate spiritualism, right? So people tend to go into another extreme by accepting spiritualism and asceticism and reject modernity and modernism altogether. So this is one of the response that we can find in many religions, even Islam. Even Islam to a certain period of time when modernity or modernism penetrated into some Muslim countries to the extreme, some people resorted to mysticism. Muslims, resorted to mysticism. They just let go of this so-called scientific and worldly kind of thing that let's focus ourselves into godly and divinely engagement. And so we hope, I mean, this group of people expect to be enlightened by God and not enlightened by this scientific evolution. So what he did, he called people to in Hinduism to follow his movement. He believed in the diversity of religions and that this diversity are actually the external manifestation of God in different forms. He condemned proselytization and conversion. So he said he believed that you have to maintain in whatever religion you are. You need not to convert into other religions because I mean, what is the point of converting to other religions if all religions are true, isn't it? If all religions are true, there is no point for you to convert into other religions. The belief that your religion is as true as other religions is one of the fact that make it unnecessary for you to convert, isn't it? So as I mentioned earlier, he has very strong influence to the people and of course to the globe because in 1893, his movement I have been given a platform to speak at the Parliament of World Religions in 1893. So his disciple Swami Vivekananda helped to disseminate this belief all over the world and given the platform to speak at the World Parliament of Religions. Okay, so I think that's about it with this sympathetic movement in India. Now we go to Baha'ism. Yeah, Baha'ism. Yeah, Baha'ism in Iran. Even today, Baha'ism also flourished in North India. Some parts in North India. In fact, the what you call that? The greatest shrine of Baha'ism is in India. Yeah, I forgot what is the name of that place. Yeah, maybe Anna can help me if you know this place. I cannot recall this place. I just remember Amritsar, the golden temple of the Sikh. Okay? So what Baha'ism called? Baha'ism is an maybe it has some influence to the Ramakrishna mission. Yeah, Ramakrishna mission. It propagated unitary of religions, humanity under God, and the objective of this religion is, unified humanity, propagate humanity and a world religion to establish a reconciled religions and knowledge and to establish global peace. Sorry for the typo there. Yeah. So and Baha'ism is very world wide known today. Even in Malaysia, they are becoming stronger and stronger. And in Malaysia, they are working very hard to make sure that Baha'ism is also recognized as one of the major religion in Malaysia. Like if you're familiar with the platform that the non-Muslims in Malaysia had in recently, it's called the Malaysian Consultative Council of Buddhist, Hindu, Taoist, and Sikhism, MCCBC Confucians, MCCBCHST. It covers major religions in Malaysia but not Baha'ism. So Baha'ism is working very hard to include themselves in this platform. This platform is recognized by the government, and they are under the Jabatan Perpaduan dan Integrasi Nasional. Yeah? So Baha'ism is, and they have very good funding. They are quite strong in the Western countries. And um, I remember that I met Bahai's PhD student. She's from Iran, and she had to, she had to find, she had to migrate from Iran because she claimed that she didn't get the right to believe in what she wants to believe in Iran, and she got scholarship to study about Baha'ism, to make the study of Baha'ism more intellectual, more academic. Yeah. She did her PhD in Baha'ism, and she got scholarship from the UK. Yeah. All right, so this is another society. This is another movement. They call themselves Theosophical Society. This is one society movement based I in Europe, yeah, or in Christian based country or Christian majority country. Maybe this is more accurate. Yeah. So the three people: Helena Petrovna Blavatsky, Colonel Henry Olcott. So you can see from the word colonel is an army, and army soldier, and then Annie Besant. And this is very, I mean, relatively recent lah, in the 20th century, early 20th century. So what they call for unity of God, yeah? And the unity of God implicitly indicates unity of religions, yeah? Incarnation of God in Trinity, yeah? And they believe in different level of existence and universal brotherhood. So you can see that there is a combination of Christianity or an element of Christianity in the region, because I think that's the basis of their tradition, Christianity. So they still hold the idea of incarnation, but they reformulate the religion. Yeah? And then also, what you call that, this Gandhi, as I mentioned earlier, but Gandhi is very much pluralistic in his approach. He didn't call for, he didn't establish a new religion, but then he appreciates whatever religion that are in existence in this world. Yeah, he categorized religion into two: perfect religion and religion as understood by man. And he said that true religion is an outcome of man-limited understanding, knowledge, therefore not eligible to submit to them. So what he says that all religions are true, but they cannot they cannot claim that their religions are the only truth. So, I mean, this is giving freedom to people of religions or to religion to claim true, but that not absolute. Yeah? The truth is not absolute. So this is about Mahatma Gandhi. So he advocates certain concept in Hinduism that he thought can be relevant to all religions, can be instrumental in making all religions more tolerant towards each other, and less advocates of superiority. Yeah? So he advocate the idea of satya, yeah, that one truth beyond human comprehension. This is one doctrine in Hinduism. He also advocate the idea of ahimsa. As you can see here, he denied the term tolerance. He appreciates ahimsa because ahimsa is the doctrine that talks about or they advocate the idea that we should not harm other lives. And he didn't like the word tolerance. He said tolerance is a sinful word. Yeah, tolerance is a sinful word. It's a word introduced by the colonial to colonize people. So this is some critics to the word tolerance. Even some pluralists did not like the word tolerance, like for example, Alan Race in his work Religious Pluralism. He didn't appreciate the word tolerance because the word tolerance indicate the idea that you have to give in, then only you're able to tolerate. Yeah? So it's not simply giving space to you, but you have to give space to others. But to what extent that you have to tolerate people? I mean, you cannot be all the time giving in, right? So some people rejected the word tolerance or tolerate. So these are some of the illustrations of these people. So I guess that's about it with regard to syncretism. I hope to go to transcendence, unity of religion very quickly. Before I move, do you have any question? Before I move, do you have any question? Bear in mind that transcendence, unity of religion is a bit, how do I say it? A bit trickier because it's esotericism. Give me some. No question. Are you there or not? All right.
Madam,
Yes, please.
uh, the scholars study about other religion include Islam, and how can they didn't notice about the concept of Tawhid if really study about Islam? For example, the
Hmm.
Ayah Ramuhan Roy.
Hmm. Well, first of all, I think for syncretic, they still appreciate their own tradition, but they are contested also. They are challenged with this idea of imposing one's tradition, including their own tradition. So I think what they don't want to do, the most thing that they want to do in syncretism is imposing his own tradition to others. Even though he advocate for it, but he didn't want to impose it on others. And I think this is what they cannot accept with regard to Islam, because especially when they relate to the history of the coming of Islam to India, there is one not so good things about the history of Islam when they first entered India, because well, I'm not a good student of history, but there were also some, uh, how do I say it, some, uh, how do I say it? Some brutalities. I'm trying to find a very neutral word. I couldn't find it. Brutalities when the Muslims invaded India. Well, I have to be very neutral. Yeah? I'm not going also to blame them, or not. I'm not going also to be very apologetic in this manner. But Muslims are very harsh when they entered India. So that's why some Hindus, they didn't like the Muslims. I think that grudges still carry on until today. Yeah. Um, well, there must be reasons why there were harshness. I think we should also look into this. Yeah. Mm, one of the reasons this is given to me by one of our professor who is originally come from India, and he said that one of the things that made the Muslims take a very harsh approach towards the Hindus is one of the rituals or practice in Hinduism. That is the burning of the widow. Burning of the widow. I think sati. The term is sati in. Amna, are you aware of this? Are you coming from this part of the world?
Yeah, Prof, this is SETI system you're talking about?
Is it sati?
SETI in
Yes.
religion.
Okay, yeah, sati. Yes. So, according to this professor, the reason why Muslims take very harsh positions against the Hindus because of this practice of sati, whereby when the husband died, the wife will have to be burned together with the husband. This is to show her love for the husband. Yeah. So Muslims were against this, but unfortunately the Hindus, of course this is one of the teaching, and it's regarded as very noble for a Hindu's wife to follow her husband. So according to this professor in India, he said that I mean the Hindus should be thankful to the Muslims. Why? Because otherwise they will not have many children. I mean, big number of population today. If all the women, the Hindus women practice sati. Yeah. Well, this is his argument, but I think above on all, um, yeah, the Muslims who entered India, they were very warrior type. They were the the Mongolians, right? They were known as very strong soldiers, and, and maybe that was how the situation at that point of time when people living in the situation where the strong win. So that's the only way. I don't know. Yeah. So I found it very difficult for me also to be neutral because the way I see it, Muslims normally when they enter into a country, they come peacefully. They come peacefully, but you can see also when Ziyad entered into Europe, he came also with his army, right? So this is something that I am still couldn't justify at this point of time when Muslims came into other parts of the world and they use strength, they use arms, they come with the army. But anyway, it's not what I'm going to discuss today. But why they didn't
Okay,
find
madam.
why they didn't find Tawhid? Maybe because of this. Yeah? And bear in mind, that's why you see, if you remember Al-Biruni, yeah? Why Al-Biruni study Hinduism? Why he studied Hinduism and what kind of approaches he studied? He come from this countries around Indo-Pakistan country, and he study Hinduism by approaching the Brahmins, because it seems to me that the Hindus lost trust in Muslims. So when he wanted to study Hinduism, he couldn't just study like that. He has to get the trust from the Hindus. So he joined the Brahmins. He learned the language. He observed the Brahmins. Yeah. So I mean, you can read the works of Biruni. Yeah, and he did. Biruni actually studied Hinduism by the request of the Sultan, the king. Because I think one of the reason why he wanted to really understand the Hindus and he wants to take another approach in approaching the Hindus, da'wah approach the Hindus. So he want to find this religion and to see how Muslims can approach into this religion. This is one of his da'wah strategy, I believe, especially in terms of intellectual approaches to Hinduism. All right, so if you ask me why they didn't find Tawhid, just like today, many are aware of Islam, but why they didn't become Muslims? Of course, maybe one issue, the issue of hidayah. But secondly, I think because of the behavior of the Muslims themselves. Could it be that? Yeah. All right, Noor. Any other questions,
Yes, Prof. I have one question.
Thank you, madam.
Amna?
Why didn't we discuss the Deen Ilahi, which was started by Akbar? It was a pretty syncretic religion.
Yes, it is a syncretic religion. Darah syukur, except that except that they are not as what you call that, sustainable as today. The rest of the movements that I have discussed, they are quite sustainable. The movement still continue until today. Yeah. But for Dara Shukor and this Dino Ilahi, I don't know if they are still around, Amna. I don't know if in
Not
India they're
really.
still around. Not really, right? So they're not strong movement, but that is a call. But this movement that I discussed just now, they are still until today. The Unitarian, the Ramakrishna Paramahansa's movement, Ramakrishna's movement, even this Brahmo Samaj and Theosophical Society, they are still persist until today, and they have formalized religion. This is it, but not Dinu Ilahi. Yeah? Not Dinu Ilahi. Even Baha'ism become very well established religion today. So I guess why I'm choosing all these religions, because they are formalized and they are still continue exist until today.
Okay, Prof. Understood. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Okay. What about? No, you go. Okay. Before that, before I forget, after the end of this class, I'm going to upload questions. Remember those who didn't make it in test one. Yeah. I'm going to make a replacement test for all of you. The total mark is 8. The rest of you who have uh, made it in test one, you need not to take it. But if you wish to take it, you can take it, except that the marks is 8 this time. In your time it's 10 marks, right? This is replacement test and the total is 8 marks. And okay, the deadline of this test is tonight at 11:59 p.m. After which I will close the system, and then you're not supposed to. I'm going to trust you. I have no other option but to trust you. Um, you cannot refer to sources, to online sources, to notes, to my recorded lectures and whatnot, because the test is on what we have discussed in class. Of course, I hope to do it during class time, but we lack of time, so and I want to give you more opportunity to think about what we have discussed earlier. So right after this class, maybe okay, I will give you some time to take a look at the notes, yeah, but I will release the link today at 11 a.m. At 11 a.m. I will release the link. Is that okay? 11, or you want a little bit later, 12 p.m.? I'm afraid I forgot if I were to delay it. At 11, I'm still working on my laptop because I have a meeting from 11 to 12.
Doctor, I just want to
Yeah.
reconfirm. So for
Hmm.
tonight, those who want to take the retest for the test one, and this test
Mm-hmm.
one is about the three definition about secularism, secular, and also secularization, right?
Realization. True, true.
Okay. I just want to reconfirm. Okay, thank you, doctor.
Ah, so if you want to join this test, you can, but then the total mark is 8. So, hello Syifa. Dah bangun dah? Test ya, test. Sorry, I'm reminding my daughter she has a test. Okay, so yeah, so at 11:59 I will shut down the system. Yeah. So if you want to join, you can join, but then you cannot refer to the notes. It's not open book test. It is not open book test. It is a test, and I have to trust you, and I believe I can trust you. But okay, tell me what time you want me to open up the link, because you can have time to do your revision if you want. 11. You have class after this. Class, do you have class after this or not?
Yes,
That's
Yes.
why.
until evening.
So what time do you want me to open the link? Because maybe you want to do some revisions. Because once when
5
I
maybe.
5, then would there be enough time for you to what you call that, to study to answer 5 to 11 to 11:59?
Maybe at 12.
I open it at 12. Yeah. Because if you have more time, then maybe you can think better. I open it at 12. Yeah. I open it at 12. Yeah, I open it at 12. Hold on. Hello Syifa. Kenapa? Dah ada jawab exam belum? Okey, dah masuk dalam sistem belum? Okey. Mama ada kelas ni. Bye. Bye. Alright. So, okay, at 12 I will open the system and you can, well, once when you open the link, you cannot refer to your notes, yeah? I can trust you, can I? Ya lah, boleh je lah, hantam saja lah. Alright.
Yes, doctor.
I can't share my screen. Can you see my screen? What I cannot share? Okay, let me redo again. Because they say I cannot share my screen. Alamak, lagi 1 minit, 5 minit je. Oh, ya. Cancel, let me oh, okay, because it's already closed. Hold on. Hilang pula ni. Oh my goodness. Um, point. Okay. Oh, there are people renovating house also near my house. Ya Allah, so noisy. All right. Okay, transcendence unity of religion. This is very interesting topic. I love teaching this topic, but then we have really limited time. You can see now the slides. These are the scholars of transcendence unity of religions. And before I carry on, let me remind all of you that this is one of the trends of religious pluralism. Some people interpret that this is a trend in religious pluralism, but this is not a full-fledged religious pluralism. Okay, the same goes to syncretism. People interpret it. Even the syncreticists interpret that they are advocating religious pluralism, but in the real sense, these are only trends. So you see the picture from the left is Houston Smith, and then we have Anna Marie. If I'm not mistaken, this is Anna Marie Schimmel. This is Fridtjof Schwann, the pioneer of transcendent unity of religion, and this is Syed Hussein Nasr, a Muslim scholar. Yeah. So what is Sophia Perennis? Yeah. Sophia Perennis of perennial philosophy is the discipline from which the philosophy of transcendent unity of religions is propagated. Okay, so perennial philosophy or Sophia Perennis is the discipline, is a new discipline from which transcendent unity is propagated. Now on, I'm going to use the word transcendent unity. Okay, in comparison to the rest of the pluralists, so-called pluralists, the transcendentalists advocate for a certain approaches, a very distinct approach in recognizing religions. Yeah, they advocate that this appreciation or this unity of religions can only be found in the spiritual form, in an esoteric form. So you see the word here, inward, spiritual, esoteric. And this is the only approach that can remove prejudicial position in religions. What do I mean by prejudicial position? Prejudice in the sense that when you think that your religion is the only true religion, other religions are wrong. So through the transcendentalist, thinking your religion is a true religion and other religions are wrong is prejudice. It's a form of prejudice. So the scholar, hold on. The scholar believe that God has manifest himself in or its personal quality in different forms. Ya Allah, dah. In different forms. Yeah. I'm so sorry, my daughter is having an exam and asking me to do something. Okay, so So Fridtjof Schwann say that God manifests himself in different forms to different people. Now, if we compare the position of transcendentalists in comparison to John Hicks pluralism, maybe I have said this in my previous class. John Hicks' position of religious pluralism is that he advocate the idea that man interprets God. So, an interpretation of religion, human responses to the to the transcendent, right? So it's like human down here looking up and above, looking at the above and interpreting God the way their context help them to interpret Him. So say for example, if it's in India, this is how we interpret. If it's in Saudi Arabia, this is how we interpret, so on and so forth. Isn't it? But for Shuan, it's not like that. For Shuan, it's like God there, yeah, uh, at the above, looking down to the earth and showing himself, demonstrating himself, manifesting himself differently to different people. So if Hicks takes a position of bottom-up interpretation, Schuon advocate for top-down manifestation. Top-down manifestation, that God from the above manifests himself differently to different people. So he manifests himself as Jesus Christ to the Christians. He manifests himself as Allah to the Muslims. He manifests himself as Nirvana to the Buddhists, and so on and so forth. How do you find that? Very interesting interpretation, right? So, so you cannot help it. When God manifests himself differently, of course you get a different message. Yeah, so the reason why God manifests himself differently, I mean, that's the reason why you understand him differently. And you cannot do anything about it. But then Schwann said, if you want to really understand him as he is, this is what he said in this slide, its supreme personality. If you want to get access to its supreme personality, then you need to have a certain locus in yourself, a certain credibility in yourself to be able to attain this special quality of him. That is beyond his manifestation, beyond what he manifests himself, beyond Jesus Christ, beyond Allah, beyond Nirvana, Moksha and Mukti. So, and is this possible? This is possible according to Schwann. This is possible according to Schwann because he said that the idea of Holy Ghost in Christianity, for example, represent this dimension, represent the dimension of God beyond his manifestation. And Chuan, and in general, all Sufis, all esoterics, all mystics, all Gnostics use this term to explain about the God that they worship, which is impersonal God. So for knowing this impersonal God, let me introduce you to another term, which is personal God. What is personal God? Personal God is the God that we can relate with. With regard to Christianity, Jesus Christ is personal God. He's a God that you can relate with. With regard to Hinduism, what are examples of personal God? Personal God is a God that you can relate with, and whatever, that Hinduism has many gods, so whichever God that you can relate with, that is your personal God. And the most prominent personal God would be to the European scholars who study Hinduism, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, even though the Hindus denied it. Yeah. What about Islam? Does Islam has personal God? When it comes to Islam, then we have a lot of problems because in Islam, we have no such thing as personal or impersonal. Yeah, because we can always ask God, even though He is far and above, and we are asking this God, the same God, regardless of his, personality, impersonal or personal. Do you follow me or not? Whenever we pray to God, it's the same God, isn't it? The God that we believe that is beyond our comprehension, right? I mean, we know Him, Remember, when I gave you lecture, we know him by his names, we know him by his attributes, right? But we know that he's beyond these names and attributes, isn't it? But then we didn't make a demarcation between these two. The his attributes that we know, his name that we know, is the same God that beyond our comprehension. Now, beyond our comprehension in the context of laisa kamitslihi syai'un. So in the perspective of Islam, this is very problematic concept of personal and impersonal because there's no such thing in Islam. But well, in Sufism, they speak about this impersonal God, and you are capable of Sufism. You are capable um, being in unity with Him when during al-hulul, in the forms of wahdatul wujud. Okay, I will explain this later. But this is what Shuan is trying to say, that in every religion you have these conceptions of impersonal God. So he said that in Hinduism you have this concept of Purusha, of soul, of Atman, yeah? And this Atman is the highest God, yeah? That is beyond words to describe. In Buddhism, you have this concept of Buddhi. And then in Islamic mysticism, you have this concept of al-aqlu, the intelligence, interpreted as the intelligence, the locus from where man connect himself with this transcendent God and make possible al-hulul, make possible for wahdatul wujud. Yeah. So this is how we at least explain the possibility of man to know God at this level of spirituality, at the level of inward, using mysticism. And mysticism in Christianity is known as Gnosticism, Gnosticism, Gnosticism. Mysticism in the Hindus, Buddhist tradition is known as asceticism, and mysticism, Christianity dah sebut, and mysticism in Islam is known as Sufism. So basically this group or this movement believe uh, in mysticism as the platform to acknowledge differences of religions. So I will stop at this point. Next class we're going to continue on the esoteric approach to religious diversity, and I will show to you how transcendent unity of religion is different from religious pluralism, even though some people regard it as one of the trends of religious pluralism. So I guess that's about it for today. Thank you very much for your patience. Yeah. Any question before I let you go?
Doctor.
The link at 12 p.m. today, and you can answer to 11:59, and no references from lectures, from online sources, from recorded lectures whatsoever is allowed. Okay?
Doctor.
This is between you and Allah. Okay?
Doctor.
Alright? Is there
Doctor.
anything else before we leave?
Doctor, I have a
And
question.
Assalamualaikum. Yes, please.
Doctor, about the test one before, may I know if there's any way for us to know the marking for our paper?
Oh, okay. You don't know, you didn't check with Google Classroom?
No, I know my
I
marks,
have
but
already forwarded.
I know
Oh,
my
okay. You want to make it up.
yeah. No, I know my marks, but
You know
I
your
don't
mark,
know
so
the. I want to know which part I'm wrong. You know, the edited part. Yeah, the marking.
okay. Uh, okay. I I have downloaded your answer. I thought I have given because I marked from my iPad. So let me check if it is in. if you can see it there, because when you mark from the iPad, it is automatically, or maybe before I didn't have an iPad that time, because normally when I mark at my iPad, I just bought actually, so it will automatically appear. So I look here, it is not lah. Maybe it is not here. Let me see. Hold on, let me check. Because if it is not, then I have it in. I download it, and then I do not know how. Okay, maybe here. Maybe let me check. Check. I think I have printed it somehow. Class specification, the assignment, that's one. Open the. Okay, maybe that is for the other class. Okay. Well, I can, but do you mind if other people looks at your marks? Because if I send it through the Google Classroom platform, then only you can see your marks. Yeah. That's why finally I bought that iPad, because I can easily mark and you can see your marks. But if I download in my desktop, mark it from there, and then I put it on the classwork, and everybody can get access to it. I don't know. Or otherwise, I just email individually. The reason why I did it is because there are many. Let me see how many of you did it. For test one. For test one, I think 17 of you. Okay, 24 graded. 17 of you were not graded because of the index of similarity is high. Yeah. So 24, which means that I have to email every single person in this 24. I try to do to yeah, I cannot, because I cannot submit in the Google platform test one, because if I submit, then everybody will be able to see it. Unless if I go to individual person. Okay, but Alia, let me figure out if I can still do it, or if you want it, you email me and then I will email you personally.
Okay,
I
doctor.
see why I don't like corresponding through email, because I'm the deputy dean and I receive many emails every day. So sometimes there is a tendency that I overlook the email. So I'm afraid that if I send it through emails, a lot of things lah. It's quite hassle for me to send to 24 people and all this. Yeah.
Doctor,
Anyway, but if yes,
maybe you can try
yes.
send the document through WhatsApp.
This is also another thing that I don't like. Why WhatsApp is not official, right?
Okay lah.
But if you want to see it, I hope you don't mind lah. I can put it on the what do you call that? It's a
No,
class
I don't
stream.
wanna. I don't wanna make it public.
That's why. So tak apalah, nanti okay, those who want, you email me and alert me, because I receive many emails every day. So you email me, and then
Okay.
okay, one more thing. The reason why I found so difficult with this recent exercise, some of you just put metric number. Some of you, I think one or two didn't put email, didn't put magic number. So and then when I look at your names, ya Allah, not everybody have good uh, you know full names. I think, who is this person? They didn't have full names and give picture. So okay, but now it's everybody has names. Okay, Diki Dermawan. What is your name, Diki Dermawan? So okay lah, I'll try to do it. I mean, so I have to check your magic number, your name, and then send to you. So next time, put your name for Google Class. For this test, this time I'm using Google Form. I've indicated there magic number and name. Please put your name, so it makes my life easier. I need not to cross check. Ah. All
Doctor,
right. So okay. Yes.
reconfirmation. I will make it brief and quick. For tonight quiz, it's optional, right? It's not obligatory.
Yes, optional, optional.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you, doctor. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Okay, bye bye, you all. Alia, if you want, you email me, including the rest of you. If you want, you email me. Yeah. All
Uh,
right. Thank you very much. Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. The rest can leave if we have class. I don't have class, but if you have class, you can leave the class now. Yes, Amna.
Yeah. Can I ask, like, what topic should we prepare for if we are planning to give the next test?
Oh, for the next test, we will cover up. Oh, alamak, do I remember? Hmm. Not now, I remember, but I think, okay, up to global theology.
Sorry, Prof. Can you?
From the very beginning up to global theology.
Oh, right. Sure. Okay. Just
All right, Anna?
yeah. Jazakallah.
Up to
Got it.
global theology. Yes, up to global theology. All right, any more
Madam?
questions? For report on webinar, do we need to include the footnotes and references? No need lah. Siti Murni, for webinar, no need footnotes and references because I just want the repertoire to report what the speakers communicate during the presentation.
Okay, madam.
You know, the reason why I want this because I want everybody to pay attention to webinar. Yeah, so the repertoire have to including the moderator. Of course, the speaker will have to pay attention, right? Because they have to speak. But the moderator will definitely have to pay attention. But then the repertoire also have to pay attention because he's going to make a report. So everybody has their own role in that webinar. If you have two repertoires, then the two repertoires have to combine the works together. Okay, is Brother Asim here? Brother Asim, are you here? Does anyone know if Brother Asim has group or not? Please consider including Brother Asim in your group, yeah? Because he has no group yet. And I don't know whether he has done anything to help his situation. All right, class. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum. I'll see you again next
Sorry.
time. Assalamualaikum.
Doctor, can I ask a question?
Yes,
Yeah, sorry,
please.
Doctor. I know that,
Okay,
I
Farah.
know that you mentioned earlier that the first test is optional, right? However, if I'm not mistaken, the first test is
The first,
the first test it's the one
the first test, the first test is not
uh,
optional. The first test is not
yeah.
optional.
I'm so sorry.
Hello. Salam saya dalam kelas ni apa ni? Penting ke? Saya dalam kelas kita.
Yeah, Doctor.
Alright. Sorry.
I meant to say the second test is optional, right? But the first one, the second test is a replacement for the first one, right? Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
But if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken, the first test is over 5 marks, right? But the second test is over 8. So does that mean we have to do it because
Yeah.
we lose marks, right?
I will times by 2.
Oh, okay.
The
All right.
first test I will times by 2.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I intend to make another test for the test 1 and test 2 and then the final test. But then I don't think we have enough time, and I believe that at this point of time you have a lot of things to accomplish, right? So I said, never mind. And actually, in my planning, also the first test should be 10 marks. 10 marks, yeah.
All right, madam. Thank you so much for the clarification.
But then I said, 17 didn't do well, so and those who do well, okay lah, I will times by 2. All right.
Thank you.
Anything else?
One more thing. Can the repertoire be a speaker as well, or he or she cannot at all speak? Be a panelist.
Logically speaking, that is adding more work to the person because if you're a speaker, you have to do the study and you have to do the analysis and whatnot, you present it and then you need to report. There's a lot of work to do. Okay? So I want to distribute the work to everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you for the clarification.
Right. Thank you very much, and
Assalamualaikum.
sorry for the disturbance this time. Quite disturbed with television. All right. Thank you all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, madam.
Waalaikumsalam.